Welcome to Gaia's Calling, where stories ignite your spirit and the earth whispers her secrets. I'm Brad Swift, a write-on-purpose author of eco-fiction and nonfiction, inviting you to become an eco-guardian. Together, let's explore the wonders of our world and take action to protect them. Listen closely. Gaia is calling. And today on Gaia's Call is, looking at attainment versus attunement. Why our culture is breaking us and how we can find our way home. So let's dig in. I've been setting up a small growing area in my basement these past few weeks. A little winter haven where I can keep veggies going through the cold months and continuing my slow but curious experiment with hydroponics. At first, it was all about the task. Get the shelving in, set up the lights, hang the timers, figure out the water flow, make it efficient, make it productive, get it done. And in the middle of it, I caught myself doing something I'm not proud of. I started beating myself up for not doing it faster, for not carving out more time, for letting life get in the way, for not being more, attain-y. It's funny how quickly old habits creep in, even when we think we've moved beyond them. And then Amber mentioned that when she picked up 4-year-old Logan from preschool, my grandson, one of the first things he said was, "I really like gardening with Granddude." That one sentence stopped me cold. Just stopped me. All at once the whole project shifted. It was no longer about productivity or efficiency or finishing my to-do list. It became a question. How can this be something that we can do together? Something that Logan will remember. Something Piper can even toddle into. Something that grows more than just vegetables. So, the core distinction we're going to look at is attainment versus attunement. You see, we live in a culture that worships attainment. Do more, get more, produce more, achieve more, optimize more, buy more, follow more, become more. It's the air we breathe. And it's the unspoken scoreboard so many of us learn to keep without ever realizing we were playing a game we didn't choose. But for all the striving and accumulating and checking boxes, something essential is missing. You see, attainment is outer-focused. It measures life in metrics and milestones, productivity and performance. It lives in speed and comparison and acquisition. And because of that, it constantly reinforces the quiet suspicion that we're behind, or not enough, or failing to keep up. Attunement, on the other hand, it's more inner alignment. It's the quieter, steadier knowing that rises when we listen rather than react, when we connect rather than compete, when we let life shape us rather than trying to conquer it. Attunement shifts the question from, what can I get done, to more like, what is life asking of me in this moment? Or, who am I becoming through this? Where attainment pushes, attunement invites. Where attainment thrives and strives, attunement, senses. Where attainment measures, attunement, it kind of feels. One is louder, and the other one is truer. So why does this matter now? We are living in a moment of profound overwhelm. Ecological, political, social, and spiritual. Our planetary crisis is not just about carbon, heat, storms, or melting ice. It's about the worldview that created those problems in the first place. This is exactly what one cause points to. The 4 great untruths. The belief that we are separate from nature. The belief that more is always better. The belief that Earth's resources are infinite, and yes, the belief that technology will save us. Attainment culture is simply these untruths made habitual and normalized. We strive because we're told there isn't enough. We compare because we believe we're separate. We extract because we believe nature exists for us to use. And we wait for a technological miracle, well, because we've forgotten how to live in right relationship with Earth. Attainment culture isn't just stressful, it's unsustainable. It's a worldview that inevitably leads to burnout on the personal level and collapse on the planetary level. Attunement, however, is the doorway out. In other words, attunement equals living the four great truths. This is where one cause framework becomes more a map, not just for saving the world, but for saving our own sanity. Attunement naturally expresses the four great truths that we know are the antidote to the meta-crisis. Interconnectedness reminds us that we are not separate from nature or each other. When we attune, we feel that truth in our bones, whether through gardening with a child or resting a hand on the living trunk of a tree. Sufficiency, well, that tells us that there truly is enough when we slow down and reconnect with the rhythms of life. Attunement softens the grasping and the guilt and opens space for gratitude. Reciprocity reminds us that giving and receiving are part of the same sacred loop. Attunement invites us to give in ways that nourish rather than drain. And stewardship, well, perhaps the most profound truth, becomes a natural expression of attunement. When we feel connected and grateful and present, caring for Earth stops being a duty and becomes a joy. Attainment can't access any of this because it's, well, too busy pushing. Attunement makes space for the wisdom that's been waiting for us all along. So let's take a look at the three dimensions of attunement: health, growth, and depth. Attunement isn't a single practice. It's a way of being shaped by three interconnected dimensions. There's the past-oriented dimension of health, healing old patterns, trauma responses, and reactive habits that keep us locked into striving and scarcity. And then there's the future-oriented dimension of growth, the part of us reaching towards our potential, our next level of integrity, creativity, and purpose. And finally, there's the present-oriented dimension of depth, the cultivation of attention, presence, character, and the inner stillness that lets us hear life's quiet instructions. When we attune across these three dimensions, we become more coherent, more grounded, more wise, more available to the moment, and more of ourselves. So, the obstacles to attunement? Well, of course, attunement is not the path our culture prepares us for. We live in a world engineered for distraction, speed, stimulation, comparison, and consumption. Our attention is constantly hijacked by devices that measure us, algorithms that shape us, and systems that profit when we stay disconnected from ourselves and each other. On top of that, we carry the old echoes of childhood conditioning, unresolved hurts, and habitual coping strategies that keep us in go mode, even when our souls are quietly begging for us to slow down. This doesn't make us broken. No, it makes us human. But it's also attunement, something we must choose on purpose again and again. So the basement garden realization. This is why the moment with Logan mattered so much. When I heard him say he likes gardening with Granddude, something inside me softened. The basement garden was no longer a task to complete, but an invitation to attune, to him and to Piper, to the plants, to the rhythm of nature, and to the deeper truth that life is never asking us to be more productive. Life is asking us and inviting us to be more present. The project wasn't about growing vegetables anymore. It was about growing us, our connection, our curiosity, our love for Earth, and our sense of belonging to something, larger than ourselves. That's the heart of attunement. It turns projects into rituals, tasks into relationships, and to-do lists into opportunities for connection. So, here's a simple invitation. As you move through your day, notice where attainment takes the wheel. Notice the pressure, the tension, the speed. And then ask yourself gently, what would attunement look and feel like right now? What would it feel like to slow down, to listen, to connect, to become? Attunement isn't more work, it's less. It's the quiet, sacred pause that allows something wiser to emerge. It's how regeneration begins inside us, inside our families, inside our communities, and yes, inside the earth itself. So, let's keep listening. Let's keep attuning, and let's see what wants to grow next. Oh, and by the way, this article was inspired by a beautiful conversation between Keith Martin Smith and David Ariel, which can be found on YouTube, called Tune Your Inner Instrument, and there's a link here in the Substack, and it's also available as a podcast, Everyone is Right, Integral Life, the most recent episode, which I believe, maybe it wasn't the most recent one, it was from November the 7th. So, enjoy, and talk to you soon.